Welcome to the Roger and Daniel Show, where you'll hear facts and not narratives. Climate change, the defining crisis of our generation, right? Well, a bombshell report just revealed that everything we've been told about climate policies might be serving profit motives more than the planet.
You know what's fascinating about this report? It's not just questioning the science. It's exposing how these policies are affecting real people, like those European farmers literally blocking streets with their tractors.
And here's what really caught my attention. While regular folks are struggling with rising energy costs, some corporations are actually making more money trading carbon credits than from their main business operations. We're talking billions in profits.
That's exactly what makes this so concerning. The report shows how carbon credit markets have basically become a wealth transfer scheme, haven't they?
Well, let me give you some numbers that'll blow your mind. In some European countries, energy prices have shot up by 40% due to green energy mandates. For a middle-class family, that's tough. For a low-income family, it's potentially devastating.
And meanwhile, these big investment banks are raking in billions trading carbon credits and financing renewable projects. The disconnect is pretty stark.
Oh, but here's where it gets even more interesting. You know all those clean, renewable energy solutions we keep hearing about? The report digs into the full life cycle costs. And, it's not pretty.
Like that toxic lake in Inner Mongolia from rare earth mining, the one that's so massive you can see it from space?
Exactly. And get this, we're about to face another environmental crisis with millions of solar panels reaching end of life in the next decade. Most contain toxic materials that can't go into regular landfills, and we have basically no plan for dealing with them.
Speaking of environmental impacts, what about those offshore wind farms? The report had some pretty shocking findings about marine life.
Yeah, so this is wild. There's been an unprecedented number of whale deaths near these installations. But here's the kicker. Regulatory agencies are often dismissing these deaths as unrelated, despite clear temporal and geographical correlations.
Well, that raises a pretty big question. Are we so invested in the renewable energy narrative that we're willing to ignore obvious environmental damage?
And that brings us to another fascinating aspect of the report, the scientific dissent. You know, we're not talking about random skeptics here. These are respected researchers with decades of experience who face serious professional consequences just for questioning the dominant narrative.
Like those findings about ice core data reliability. That was pretty eye-opening.
Oh man, let me break this down because it's fascinating. So these ice cores are supposed to be our window into Earth's climate history, right? But the report shows how pressure changes over thousands of years can affect gas bubble composition, and even the act of drilling can alter the data we're trying to collect.
So essentially, we might be basing major policy decisions on potentially flawed data.
Exactly. And here's another example that really drives this home. The report details how one European country's aggressive push toward renewable energy actually backfired. During a particularly still winter, their wind farms couldn't meet demand, and they had to restart mothballed coal plants in an emergency response.
That really highlights the importance of having a balanced, realistic approach rather than rushing into solutions that might create new problems.
You know what's particularly concerning? The media's role in all this. The report documents how certain narratives get amplified while others get suppressed. Like, there was this major media outlet that actually buried a story about solar panel disposal problems because it conflicted with their editorial stance.
And all of this affects food production too, doesn't it? The restrictions on farmers seem particularly problematic.
Oh, yeah, let me tell you about that. So, farmers are being forced to reduce livestock numbers and restrict fertilizer use. But here's the irony. It's actually leading to more food being imported from countries with lower environmental standards, often shipped halfway around the world. The net environmental impact actually worse.
So what you're saying is our current approach might be doing more harm than good.
Well, that's really the core message of this report. It's not saying we shouldn't care about the environment. It's saying we need to be honest about the real costs and impacts of our current approach. We need to look at the whole picture, not just the parts that fit our preferred narrative.
Looking ahead, what do you think this means for future climate policies?
I think we're at a crucial turning point. This report is calling for more transparency, better assessment of policy impacts across all sectors of society, and most importantly, an honest dialogue about these issues. Even when that means asking uncomfortable questions or challenging established narratives.
That's quite a wake-up call for anyone involved in environmental policy.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for joining us for this eye-opening discussion. Until next time, keep questioning, keep thinking critically, and keep caring about finding real solutions to our environmental challenges.